Welcome back to the third episode of History Snippets. I'm Sarah. I'm the curator of Edwards Place in Springfield, Illinois. Today we are going to talk about somebody who worked for the Edwards family on occasion, and Collins Campbell. Campbell lived in Enos Park neighborhood, although it wasn't called Enos Park neighborhood back then, just east of the Edwards family who also lived in the same neighborhood. Anne Collins was born in Ireland around 1839. She was one of 5 children, and actually she was the only one out of the 5 to be born in Ireland. The rest of them were all born in Illinois. The Collins family came to Illinois during a surge of immigration. The potato famines of the 1840s brought a huge number of Irish immigrants to the United States. By the mid-19th century, Irish immigrants were the second largest group of immigrants in Illinois. That was right after Germans. In Springfield, Irish people were the largest immigrant group. By 1850, they comprised 20% of Springfield's population. Anne herself was an exception to a rule. Many Irish young women coming to Springfield at that time were coming on as domestic help for middle-class and upper-class families. And actually, around 25% of homes in Springfield at that time had domestic help. But Anne, she wasn't one of them. She had her own business. Now, Anne was a self-made dressmaker by trade. She started out as a general seamstress, and during the time that she worked for the Edwards family, she was transitioning that title. It seems that there was a bit of a difference in occupation and prestige that came with listing one's profession as seamstress or dressmaker. A seamstress was often considered less specialized and less trained, and consequently paid less than a dressmaker and given less respect. It makes sense that Anne would have listed herself as a seamstress when she was younger. Once she started to get a positive reputation in town, she would have been more confident to start listing herself as a dressmaker. With this move, she would have gained independence and respectability, and this is probably when she opened her own shop near her home. Her shop had a great location downtown where many people would have been able to stop by and utilize her services. It's unknown how Anne ended up meeting her future husband, Alexander Campbell, but I like to imagine that he passed by her shop one day on a downtown shopping trip, and they met in a sort of rom-com meet-cute. Regardless, they were married on November 25th, 1878. There was a generous article in the Daily Illinois State Journal celebrating the wedding. It says, "An evening long anticipated, and one which a great many citizens were interested, was the marriage of Mr. Alexander Campbell to Miss Anne Collins." They were married in a Catholic ceremony with Father Kane, another Enos Park resident, telling them the marriage relation was an ordinance of God, that though the state permitted separation and remarriage, it was not a civil act, but a sacrament of the church. The article also listed all the gifts that the couple received and who they received them from. Anne and Alexander then began their life together. Alexander worked at the Springfield Iron Works, which was more commonly known as the rolling mill at that time. They produced railroad rail and later railroad splice bars and bar iron. This plant was 45 acres and employed more than 1,000 people. It was one of the huge industries that really shaped the current Enos Park neighborhood, the other one being the Illinois Watch Factory. Unfortunately, it seems to me that after their marriage, Anne quit being a dressmaker by trade. I don't have any concrete proof, except that there is an absence in every city directory after that time. It's possible that she did keep up her business, but it was also common for married women to quit their profession upon marrying at the time because they would settle down into running a household, and it would have been another elevation in status for her to not work outside the home. It's a question that I have not yet been able to answer, as I have seen no mention of this happy couple after their illustrious union in 1878. That's all we have for you this week for History Snippets. Thank you for joining us, and we will bring you another history snippet next month.